We started.
Oh, yes, thank you. What happened?
And Michigan wants to up and leave too.
Welcome to Table Talk, the show about beer, the show about board games, and the show about everything else. I'm Rich.
And I'm Alex. And today we will be continuing our discussion on maps.
Yep, if you believe it or not, we found more things to talk about. It's never a problem with Alex and I.
No.
We can always find more to talk about.
Always.
Yeah, so if you haven't had a chance to check out parts 1 and 2, please do that. Please like and subscribe and let us know what you think about those videos. We're going to keep going because we are forward thinkers.
Oh, yeah.
And we just keep going. So
we go.
Those episodes are in the past, and now we're moving towards the future. And kind of in par with that, we're talking about kind of the future of maps, or I guess... Mm-hmm. What is the real world of maps today and the future moving forward. I'm sure we're going to talk about Google Maps.
Oh,
and everything.
You're not going to talk about MapQuest?
Well, we can. Did you have anything in particular that you wanted to talk about?
Other than to give a plug to MapQuest and say, guys, MapQuest is not dead. It is not the Blockbuster in that it's gone. It's still there. It still exists. So check it out, mapquest.com. Yes.
Still alive. It's still kicking.
Yes.
I think that's the second shout out that we've given to MapQuest, by the way.
There you go.
MapQuest is great. I remember using MapQuest when I was coming of age. It's good service. I think Google Maps is where it's at now. We're going to spend a whole episode here talking about Google Maps.
Whole episode.
A few things I wanted to talk about just right at the top here. Like we said it before in the other videos, but this is going to be a very visually heavy topic, because maps are kind of a visual thing. So if you are listening on the podcast, we do apologize ahead of time. A lot of what we're going to be talking about, we're going to be sharing, I'm sure, a lot of photos and a lot of visual references for each other and for our video viewers on YouTube. If you're not getting into the jokes, that's why. If you're lost because you can't see what we're looking at, that's why. We're going to do our best to try and narrate that as we go. But if you just want the full version of this, just go to YouTube. Go to the Table Talk with Rich and Alex on YouTube, and you'll be able to see the part 3, the video version of this episode, which I'm sure will be a lot more entertaining. So, Alex, I think you mentioned that you had another beer for this episode.
Oh yeah, well,
I'm curious to see what it is.
As with any good Google Map experience, one must be able to try new things and to go new places. And I figure, the one thing that Google Map does not do yet is the mapping of the sky. So Google, this is your next 2100 goal, is to map the actual sky. I don't know how that works,
blue.
But I'm having a sky blue Kolsch.
Sky blue.
By Carolina Brewery, in which it is brewed in Chapel Hill and Pittsboro, which is a fascinating city name to me, where it's like Pittsburgh and one of the borough cities decided to create another city. But that is a local Carolina brew. I know for all of you who are listening are probably saying, Alex, you keep picking these North Carolina beers. What's the deal? And the deal is that because I'm new here, I'm just fascinated at all the options.
You're exploring. No, that's good.
Yeah, exactly. That's good. Exactly. I'm exploring. So, at least in terms of what the Kolsch is, they just say drink fresh, drink local, Carolina Brewery, first in flavor. Just a little bit about it is a Kolsch style ale made famous in the city of Cologne, Germany. Cologne? Yeah, Germany. Light-bodied, crisp, and refreshing. And it was the winner of the 2012 bronze medal of the Great American Beer Festival. So, ladies and gentlemen, third place 2012 beer right here. Third place.
Nice.
Very tasty.
Very good. Very good. And you said it was a Kolsch?
A Kolsch, correct.
Nice.
And
I always love Kolsch. Or Kolsch?
Kolsch. They're good and refreshing, just like
Mhm.
using Google Maps. So that's
There you go.
that's how we go.
How do we map the sky? How does that process work?
That I don't know. I honestly don't know, because I
Mm,
think about the stars, where we map the stars with constellations, etc. But
mhm.
there's all that space in between, like the atmosphere, the stratosphere, the biosphere, or whatever the next spheres are.
Right. Well, I know pilots have specific maps that they go
Mm-hmm,
off of, like
mm-hmm,
airspace maps.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
But that's
maybe they.
definitely not a Google Earth thing right now.
No,
At
no,
least
not
not
yet.
that we have access to. They probably do. It's just probably like
No,
only like top level government officials have
right.
access
I
to
mean,
it.
most at least the standard understanding of
Standard
what I know.
understanding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of what I know
Yeah.
about technology is that they say that usually the military of the United States is about 20 years ahead of regular
Right.
consumer products. So if we're
Which
thinking we
yeah.
got we got Bluetooth and Wi-Fi now, I mean, what's the military using? They must be using all
Right.
kinds of fun stuff. So.
Which is really
Um,
sad when you think of the things that our government can't accomplish.
well,
Anyway,
that's all right.
sorry,
Yeah.
I'm not going to be a grumpy Gus with that. But I am glad that you have a new beer. That's good. I'm sticking with my Ohm Gang
Oh, very good.
Hennepin. I had one more left after
Okay.
after our other episode, so I'm gonna keep on with that. It is, if you didn't get a chance to look at the other episodes, farmhouse saison ale with spices. So, um, and while you're pouring here, I
Yeah.
do want, I'll go ahead and add on to this. I had something I wanted to talk about with that I didn't talk about, that I was frustrated with myself I didn't talk about during the Risk episode. Can I say one thing about Risk
Sure. Yeah.
really
Yeah.
quick? So
Yeah.
Risk was our game of the month here that we paired with maps, and with the mapping conversation. It's obviously a map based game. Something I want to talk about with Risk that I think is unique. And I wanted to ask you, when you played
Mhm.
Risk, did
Mhm.
you play what I call, I guess is what I assume is popularly known as the Blitz rule?
Hmm.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay.
Maybe this could be like a different name based on region.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if it's something that we coined as children, or just like different styles of play. I assumed it was common knowledge with Risk. So I think the common way to play Risk, I believe, is by blitzing, where you can, when you attack another territory, you can move all of the units from that territory into the newly
Yes.
acquired
Yes.
territory,
Yes. If
and
you
you
win
basically just blitz through.
through the whole.
You
Yeah.
can take over like all these territories all at
Yeah.
once. That's kind of the standard rule of Risk from what I've seen. But
Mhm.
growing up, that was not our rule. That was not our rule at
Interesting.
all.
Those
So
games
the
must have taken
rule,
forever.
yes, right. That's part of why the games took so long. Because we had a no blitz rule growing up with my gaming
Okay.
group. So if you attacked, so however many dice you rolled as an attacker, that's how
Mhm.
many units would occupy the attacked territory. So if you attacked with 3 dice and you won, then you
Mhm.
can only move 3 units from your territory into the conquered territory. And then you would
Interesting.
so you couldn't blitz through again. You could only roll 2 dice if you wanted to try and take something else over after that.
Hmm.
Okay?
Mhm.
And then the whole point was basically to prevent people from blitzing through defenses, right? And then at the end of your turn, you just need to reinforce that territory to make sure that all the units that were there that
Interesting.
were move. And anyway, interesting that to know that that's not a common thing, I guess. But yeah, I just wanted to say it because if you have always played Risk with a blitz rule, try playing it without. Where you can only move the amount of units into the conquered territory for the dice that you've rolled. It makes it a lot more interesting. I feel like it takes it a lot longer.
It
But I
feels
think it makes
very like old school 1800s European wartime of well, it's not proper
Yeah.
to invade
Right.
with everyone. You have to set you have to send out 3 people first, and then have a little tea time, and then shoot in a straight line, and then oh wait, hey, Gerald,
Yeah.
oh, you're here too. Oh yes, well, let's just hang out here and wait till the war. Anyway, that's the risk narrative of 1800. It's
There
probably
you
largely
go.
inaccurate, but that's okay. Yeah. Anyway. Huh.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I love it. Anyway, I did want to I did want to mention that that's something I had planned to talk about during the Risk episode, but I got distracted. So anyway, Blitz rule for
Let's roll.
Risk. Let's dive into Google Maps. I think the first thing on the agenda for today is a game of a Google Images game that of name that image.
Oh, I got
think
some
is
good ones for you. But
yeah. Okay. Good.
yeah.
All right.
Get ready.
All right, I'm ready. So for all you listeners out there, what we're doing, again, this is a great time to pull up the video version because we're going to be sharing images from Google Maps or Google Earth or something Google Map related, and we're going to try and be guessing what that image is because there's some weird stuff out there with Google Maps and Google Earth. So we're going to be showing each other images, and we have a multiple choice option, right? Multiple choice option of
Correct.
guessing what it is.
I'm going to be not visually giving you those multiple options. I'm going to be letting you know what they are.
That's fine.
Verbally.
That's
okay.
Fine. So I have the same setup.
Yeah, guys, if you haven't gone there yet, YouTube Table Talk with Rich and Alex. You should do this now.
Yep. Okay. And you can see what we're looking at here.
Yep. All right. Can you see what I'm seeing?
I can see what you're seeing. Yes.
Okay. All right, Rich. So we're going to start at a very fundamental level of recognizing world icons.
I was going to say.
You have the following choices. Okay. Brussels, London, New York City, or Paris.
For all you listeners out there, we are staring at a picture of the Eiffel Tower.
Well done. All right.
And I have the options of choosing which city we are currently. This is the street view of the Eiffel Tower. So unless this is like a model, because I know that there are like miniature models in other cities, but I'm assuming this is the real McCoy here. So I'm going to say this is Paris.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
1 point for Rich. Okay. This is going to be slightly more difficult. Okay.
Ooh. Okay.
So we have the following choices.
Okay.
Seattle, Washington. New York City, New York. Chicago, Illinois. San Francisco, California. Or San Diego, California.
So again, we're staring at a photo of the Golden Gate Bridge.
Very good. All right.
Which is bright orange. I love, and at each end of the Golden Gate Bridge, there are National Guard units in camouflage trucks and uniform.
Really?
And I've always been like, the bridge is orange. You're not blending in. Anyway, so
isn't it red?
This orange, red, whatever. I don't know.
Sunset colors. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
burnt orange. I don't know. Yes. So the Golden Gate Bridge would be in San Francisco, California.
Ding, ding, ding. It is not, in fact, New York City. Congratulations. Okay.
It is not New York City.
Are you ready for the next one?
Man, I'm doing really well. I like
2 for 2. 2 for 2. All right. Okay.
Now this is getting difficult.
we have progressed to a straight up 10 in difficulty. All right. You have the following choices.
Okay.
Glacier National Park. Death Valley National Park. Yellowstone National Park. Badlands National Park. Or Shenandoah National Park.
Okay, so I'm staring at what looks like a lake in the middle, kind of like a crater lake almost in the middle of a forest, but there's a lot of space between the forested area and the kind of, it's like a deserty kind of, it makes me think of like an impact crater almost, or like a volcano, which makes me think Yellowstone. So I've actually been to the Badlands. It's a little bumpier than this. So I'm going to guess, this looks like a geyser, so I'm going to guess Yellowstone.
Ding, ding, ding. We have a
Yes.
winner. Rich is 3 for 3. All right. Now guess this one.
Well, hold on. I got an update from our Googler. The official color of the Golden Gate Bridge is international orange. So
All right.
orange is in the name of the color. So
All right, Googler. Well, the one fun thing
Thanks,
that I
Googler.
once heard about the Golden Gate Bridge is that apparently there's a paint crew that at the beginning of whatever paint year starts at one side, and then by the end of the year they've finished the whole bridge, and then they have to start the process over again.
they gotta
because
go
it
back
fades.
over it.
Yeah, they have to go over because it fades.
Their
The
whole
color
job
fades.
is just going back
Yep.
and forth.
Back and forth
Oh,
on that bridge.
I love that. I wonder how.
All right.
I wonder what the line is to get that job. I'd love to have.
If
that
if
job.
anybody who's listening knows any of those people that work at the Golden Gate Bridge,
Oh, yeah.
I will pay you a lifetime of games just to have them on this podcast. That'd be
let's
pretty
get
amazing.
let's get them on the show. Let's hear.
I'd-
let's hear about that life.
I would have an entire episode just about their life.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have progressed into something a little more perhaps difficult to figure out where this is coming from. So
Okay.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
give you the following choices: Springfield, Illinois; Albany,
Okay.
New York; Syracuse, New York; Richmond, Virginia; or Boston, Massachusetts.
Oh, all right. So we're staring at some buildings here. I'm not really good with architecture, but it kind of has like a goth feel to it a little bit.
Mhm.
So that makes me think East Coast more than anything else. Yeah, it looks like maybe a university. I would think those would be like school type of buildings, or they could be public buildings. I'm gonna cross out Springfield, Illinois. I'm gonna cross out Virginia too. I don't think it's Boston. I think it's either Albany or or Syracuse. And I know you got a Syracuse history, so I'm leaning more towards Syracuse. Let's say Syracuse.
Ding, ding, ding! We have a winner.
Yes!
This is the
Yeah.
downtown Syracuse area, the city, not the university.
So I can't claim full. I mean, that part of that is just knowing you. So
hey, I
So,
mean, you used your resources. All right, now this
Yes, I
one
did.
is one of my favorites.
Okay.
Okay.
Ah.
So we have a few options.
Mm.
Machu Picchu, Peru;
Hmm.
Pyramids of the Sun, Mexico;
Oh,
Pyramids of Giza, Egypt; and Statue of Liberty, New York City.
man.
If you choose one of those particular ones, I have a feeling we're going to have something to talk about later.
Oh
right.
man.
Your
we're looking
power
at
of deduction begins. Go
yeah,
ahead.
we're looking at kind of like what to me kind of stands out as kind of like a Mayan style like pyramid. Definitely not the Statue of Liberty. But definitely not the pyramids of Giza. This is either one of those first two, I believe. Yeah, it's got a South American. Peru or Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say this is the Pyramid of the Sun, Mexico.
Ding, ding, ding! You
Wow.
are correct, my friend. You all of those were correct. You chose them all right.
Wow.
That is the Pyramid of the Sun in Mexico. This is about an hour and some change of a bus drive from Mexico, the city.
Yeah.
Because
What is
I
the
know that
Pyramid of the Sun? I don't even know what that is.
it is a cool pyramid, and it was meant
Okay.
to be honoring the sun god, of whose name in Mexico I forget. And I have actually been to this place in Mexico. It is a rather cool sight to see. So, yeah, well done. You passed. I'm gonna stop
Wow.
sharing, but I'm very impressed. I was impressed at your Syracuse guess because the Yellowstone one too. So
Yeah, Yellowstone was hard but I know again, some of that stuff is just knowing you and knowing your fascination with Yellowstone too.
that is true. I'm fascinated. It is
Yeah.
the Disney World of national parks. So, all
Yeah,
right,
that's funny.
what do you got?
Yeah. So that's fun too because you kind of went a different route than I was. I did more of like an aerial view. So all of these images
Ooh.
I'm about to show you are going to be either satellite images or pictures that more or less are taken from a satellite because that's what Google Earth is, right? It's satellite images of the world that are kind of stitched together
Right.
to create the map, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I went purely satellite images here. So let's start here.
Hmm.
So here's the first image I'm showing you. So these I don't believe these are here anymore, but they were here at some point. These are called the Lake Baikal ice circles. I think this
Mm-hmm.
is in Russia.
Yeah. Yeah. That lake is
Are
cool.
you familiar with this?
I am. In fact, one of my buddies, Vladimir, who I believe sometimes listens to this show in Russia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he and I have talked about Lake Baikal, and apparently it is the largest lake in the world, freshwater lake in the world by volume, which I don't know what exactly that means, other than that there's a lot of fresh water there. But it's enormous and it's very long. It's not as wide as some of the Great Lakes in America, but it's incredibly long and deep, very, very, very deep, like almost like
Yes.
2,000 feet or something like that, which is
Yeah, I think
crazy.
it's like one of the deepest. Yeah. Yeah. Well, this image was taken at some point in history. I'm not exactly sure when, unfortunately, but these are known as the Lake Baikal ice circles.
Super cool.
All right. So my question for you is,
Hmm.
how did these circles get formed? Slash why? And I have multiple choice options for you.
Okay.
So option number one is that they were formed by methane gas.
Okay.
Option number two is that these circles are formed by water movement and temperature differences. Option number three is that they are a form of artistic expression. A, B, or
Uh,
C?
Methane gas or water movement or artistic
Yeah.
expression.
Yeah, methane gas, water movement slash temperature differences, or artistic expression.
I'm gonna rule out artistic expression because that
Okay.
individual would have to be huge in order to make those at such a
Yeah,
perfect level.
yeah, these are pretty big.
Yeah.
We're looking at a frozen Lake Baikal, and we're zoomed into a section of that lake at a certain period in its history where there was uh, like spiraling circles. It looks like of very symmetrical, spiraling in onto each other from a central location. It looks like um, different sizes of these circles, and
There
they
we
look
go.
fairly symmetrical. So
I'm
so we're
gonna
basically looking at
go
ice circles.
and I'm gonna go with methane gas. I'm all about that gas. Let's go with methane gas.
All about that methane gas. You would be wrong.
Ah, dang it! Already I've
do you
lost.
do you have it? Okay, I'm gonna go since it was the first thing you annihilated or eliminated from the options. It is a form of artistic expression. So,
Interesting.
so these are the Baikal ice circles, and apparently, it took a team of 8 people committed to walking in circles for art, including a documentary filmmaker and a photographer. The team lived in a yurt in the center of the lake, building a fire on the lake bed every night. Yep. So
Fascinating.
anyway, yeah, it was
There's
a team of
something
artists.
there's something very courageous about sleeping on top of the lake.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know if I could do that.
that's commitment to your artwork.
Yeah. Yeah.
Different,
Very, very much. That's really cool. Well, kudos
on a
to you
different
guys that
level.
worked on Lake Baikal.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
good job,
I
you
stand
guys.
corrected. Yeah.
Yeah, yep. There you go. I was hoping it would be methane gas too. Actually, I was kind of hoping for aliens. All right, let's go to this image. Let's take a
Okay.
look at this guy.
Hmm.
All right, so this
Mm.
is a satellite image. I'm gonna explain a little bit of it to you.
I think I know what
It,
this
it
is.
yeah, well, here, let's see if you know what it is just off the bat. What is it? Do you think, without any multiple choice?
Is it the Salton Sea in California?
It is not the Salton Sea in California. No.
All right. I was gonna say
Do you
either
know?
that.
Do you know what this image is right here, though?
Those look like boats that have been abandoned.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So
Is
they
it the
are
dead?
boats.
Is it the Dead Sea?
Not the Dead Sea. No, you're close. You're getting closer. So these are boats in the middle of a desert. So for you listeners, what we're looking at are looks like big boats, ships. I guess that they would. Some people would call them that are in the middle of a desert. So this is. It's hard to see. It's kind of a zoomed in video, but this is just desert all around here. All right.
Fascinating.
So the question I'm proposing to you, Alex, is
Mhm.
why are these boats in the middle of a desert? Number one, is it a boat junkyard?
Mm-hmm.
Number two, is it a disappearing sea?
Mm-hmm.
Number three is that the boats were moved by a very, very, very big storm.
Well,
So,
I
boat
don't.
junkyard, disappearing sea, or big storm.
Well, if it was a junkyard, they wouldn't really. It must be a new junkyard because there's only 2 boats. So I'm gonna have to cross out that as an option.
They're starting up.
it's a startup junkyard. Yeah, no. Wow,
Yeah.
someone's got to start junkyards, I guess. The receding ocean, the receding water thing sounds interesting to me. However, I would see it also as too valuable of merchandise or property in order to just like let it lie there while the ocean recedes. So I'm going to go with option number 3, which is a storm likely blew them. Though I could be dead wrong. So we'll see. Maybe I'll just be 0 for however many you have. The entire
You're
time.
0 for 2 right now. So,
Ooh,
but you're
man.
right. It's not a boat junkyard. It is a disappearing sea.
The RLC.
Yes.
Is that like
so
Iran?
it was.
No.
Yeah, the RLC. I think it's Russia.
Russia. Okay.
Yeah. Again, I guess I'm obsessed with Russia. Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan.
And
Kazakhstan.
Yeah. So anyway, so in 1960, the RLC was the world's 4th largest lake, which is this area right here. You can kind of see the outline of it. Oh, okay, all right, calm down.
And it's disappeared, including the map. Even the map has disappeared now.
1960, the RLC was the world's 4th largest lake, but today it has lost 80% of its volume. So this is from 1960. Since 1960, it's lost 80% of its volume. The ecosystem of the RLC has been nearly destroyed due to high levels of salinity, industrial projects, and fertilizer runoff, not to mention a biological weapons laboratory on this island right here, which is no longer an island because the whole sea disappeared.
Wow. It's interesting that you bring this up because they've actually been talking a lot about the health of the Great Lakes right now, and how the fact that the Great Lakes aren't that old. Like I think they estimate they're only about 3,000 years old in terms of how we know them to be.
Right.
So a lot of the concern they have is runoff of agricultural runoff with fertilizer causing what do they call it? Algae blooms, which is just like pretty devastating for water ecosystems. So you tend to forget that this actually happens.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, I mean it's scary. I mean, it's since 1960. I mean, 1960 it was a lake.
Yeah.
Or it was a sea. It wasn't a lake. It was a sea.
Yeah.
Back in the 60s.
Yeah. That's
so
crazy.
Like from the time that my father was born, not even born, by the time my father was an infant to now, the whole sea has disappeared.
It's all gone. Wow. That's crazy. Yeah. That's like out of science fiction.
Yeah, it really is. It's kind of baffling. And so that's why the ships are still there, because it just happened so fast, and ships just got abandoned because there was a whole community of people in this area that basically left because their whole source of life basically left. So,
wow.
Anyway, so there's that. Sorry, kind of a downer, but still interesting. All right, got a few more here for you. Give me 1 second. Pull this up here.
Gonna go for 0 for 3. 0 for 3. There we go.
0 for 3. You can do it. I believe in you. So this one is a
Hmm.
little pixelated. I apologize. But we're looking at this thing right here.
Is that a
I want
whale?
you to I want you to tell me what this is. This is a little lake in Scotland that you may or may not be familiar with. It's called Loch Ness.
Hmm.
So we're looking at Loch Ness, and there seems to be something underneath the water from a satellite perspective. I'm going to give you a few options as to what this is.
Okay.
Okay,
All
and
right.
you tell me what you think it
All
is.
right.
Um, so this was taken in 2014 at Loch Ness. It is this a swarm of small fish? Is this a boat's wake? Is this an actual Loch Ness monster? Or is this a practical joke?
Hmm.
So there's four options here.
The problem is that April Fool's was yesterday.
Yes.
So,
It's not a hint.
well, I'm gonna guess it's not Loch Ness monster because though I still believe in it, it's probably a little. It's a little more shy. Um,
Do you really believe in the Loch Ness monster?
I mean, there's
Do you want to get into this?
theories about what is it, cryptozoology? Boy, I could talk about that for a long time.
Okay,
I'm gonna
let's go. We'll
go.
bypass it.
I'm gonna go with swarm of fish.
Swarm of fish.
No,
I
boat
feel
wake,
like
boat wake, boat wake. I changed my answer. Boat wake.
you change it to a boat wake. Boat
Yeah,
wake. It is a boat wake.
it is a boat wake. Okay, all right.
It is
Yes,
a
all right.
boat wake.
One,
All
one,
right.
one, one for
So
three. That's good.
sorry for all you conspiracy theorists out there. This is not the Loch Ness monster, and it's not
Pity.
a big swarm of fish. So this is kind of a cool. The reason I picked this one is because it's really cool about how Google Maps and Google Earth, how they stitch together their maps and their images. So
Mhm.
the way it works is satellites basically zoom across the surface of the Earth, and they have a trail of image data that they collect, right? So it's basically like this straight line of data that they collect, and it's all these images. Every now so what happens is you get this straight line of images here, and then you get a straight line of images here,
Yep.
right? And they have to stitch these images together, and what happens is they basically overlap them, and then they blur the middle of it to make it all fit together. All right. So every now and then, this creates an optical illusion. So something that looks like a giant whale or a giant monster in the ocean is really just the wake of a boat, but they basically have. This is the line right here of where they stitched right
Hmm.
across the boat, and the boat got erased in that whole process and blurred over. So
That's
so
funny.
yeah, but in 2014, apparently this was a huge photo that was online, all that somebody had stumbled upon because they thought that they had just found the Loch Ness monster. So anyway, that
I
was
like that.
that
I
was fun.
like that. Yeah, that's cool.
All right, and then the last one for you is we're going to go back to Google Earth. We're back in Nevada. We're just south of the Booker Mountain. There's this little thing right here.
Interesting.
So this is I'll zoom in kind of as we go here, but I know it's not a lot to go off of. It's just, but I do want to ask you to see. It's that we're basically sitting right on top of a mountain ridge.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing in sight. There's it's just all forests. Oh goodness gracious! It's just all forest and basically desert mountain landscape all around here. Okay.
Okay.
So there's this dark blob in the middle of the mountain. So what is this? I have a few options for you.
Okay. All right.
Is this an arrow made of concrete? Is it a Native American burial site? Or nobody knows? It's just a dark blob on a
I'm
map.
I'm gonna go with nobody knows because it's Nevada, and I could see there being some uh secret government testing or something. So I'm gonna go with nobody knows.
Ooh.
Yeah.
If it was secret government testing, I think it would just be blurred. This whole area would be blurred out.
But maybe that's the trick. It's so secret that they're making it obvious.
Gotcha. Yeah. So it's hard to tell from this image. So you're wrong again. I apologize.
1 for 4 people.
Hey,
I'd be
a little further.
I'd be basically batting 250 in baseball, so that's not a bad showing.
If you zoom out a little further, you can kind of see the shape a little bit better. But it's basically, you can kind of see the shape of an arrow. Just a little bit. All right. So you can kind of see the shape of an arrow. This is a concrete arrow in the ground. It's huge. It's a huge arrow in the ground at the top of a mountain surrounded by nothing.
Where does it point to?
Yeah, exactly. So, sorry, there's the whale again. It kind of scared me. To be honest. I got a little scared. All right. So maybe this will help explain.
All right.
All right. So this is our map episode. This is a map here. This is a recreation of a 1920s map showing the route of airmail planes. The dots are intermediate stops along the course. However, the arrow that you were just looking at was basically the solution to air navigation for airplanes before any type of aerial mapping or kind of
cool
solution was found. So on August 20th, 1920, the United States opened its first coast-to-coast air mail delivery route just 60 years after the Pony Express closed shop. So there were no good aviation charts in those days, so pilots had to eyeball their way across the country using landmarks. This meant flying in bad weather was difficult, and night flying was just about impossible. The Postal Service solved the problem with the world's first ground-based civilian navigation system, a series of lit beacons that would extend from New York to San Francisco. Every 10 miles, pilots would pass a bright yellow concrete arrow. Each arrow would be surmounted by a 51-foot steel tower and lit by a 1,000,000 candle power rotating beacon. Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
Candle powered.
So
the first time I've ever heard that word.
So candle powered. So wait. So what we're saying is that the beacons of the Gondor and Rohan communication thing is that Tolkien took that idea from this because Lord of the Rings wasn't written until the 50s.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
that's super cool.
He stole it.
I had no idea about this. This is cool.
Yeah, so you can go. So it's especially prevalent in the Southwest because of the giant desert area. They're more spottable because they're giant yellow. I don't think a lot of them have lost their paint. Oh, wow. So there's kind of an up close shot of one of those giant arrows, and you can see it's just a concrete arrow, and it's huge. You got the truck next to it. It's about 3 or 4 times the size of the truck. So
that's crazy.
So yeah, so this is how pilots navigated. So by 1924, just a year after Congress funded it, the line of giant concrete markers stretched from Rock Springs, Wyoming to Cleveland. The next summer, it reached all the way to New York, and by 1929, it spanned the continent uninterrupted, the envy of postal systems worldwide. Wow. There you go.
That's super cool.
So, yeah, that's what that was.
I just can't imagine because you got to know there's people in the United States, some of them who maybe not at this point would still be alive, but who like upwards in the 90s would have been, oh yeah, I was the one. That concrete slab that you there's some concrete slab in the mountain. No, Frank's crazy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. No, I was there. I did it.
Hey Frank, what have you been doing for like the last 5 years? Been like, I've been pouring a concrete slab in the desert.
Arrow.
For what?
Arrows.
Airplanes.
All right.
Doesn't seem like a good doesn't seem like that matches. But yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And can you imagine like flying a plane and just being like, yeah, like before you go up, they're just like, yeah, there's a whole bunch of arrows on the ground. Just follow those.
Uh-huh.
Like,
yeah, all right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
They don't even glow in the dark.
I love the ingenuity of Americans in that we seem to sometimes do these things that like I feel like just doesn't make any sense, but they work sometimes. Where like
Yeah,
you'll be
right.
like, yeah, that was kind of like it's stupid looking, or it doesn't do this or doesn't do that, but like, hey, no one had
Right.
the technology at the time. All right, what we're gonna do? Pour some concrete, paint them yellow. Okay,
Right.
great. Gets the job
Sure.
done. Gets the job done. Yeah,
Just it's the simplest concept. Just go that way.
go that way.
Just
Just
fly this way.
yeah, you go that way. Yeah.
Try not to die. Hopefully there's another arrow this way. It seems like it's setting itself up for like a Wile E. Coyote type of situation where like you
goes.
just like spin the arrow or something, or somebody paints another end to the arrow so it's pointing both ways. What? Oh,
Sir,
man. But you have to time the top of Booker Mountain to do that. So I guess
right.
that's
You don't really want to second guess yourself with equipment or supplies at that point. Well, sir, Frank, we the concrete, yeah, it's not holding. I mean, we got to go get some more. Yeah, Reno's like 85 miles away, and there's no roads here. Oh, all right. Well, carry on.
That's another thing. These are in the middle of nowhere, so getting the concrete out there,
I
like,
did they drive it? Yeah, fascinating.
Yeah,
just really cool.
Yeah.
All right.
So here, let's do this. So we're actually going to split this into two different episodes for you guys. We'll kind of cover movies. We'll cover movies next week as well. But I think next week I still want. We're having so much fun with the Google Maps process here. I still got more I want to share. So we'll kind of spill this over into next week's episode as well, and we'll sprinkle the movies in there too. But for now, guys, I think we're going to call it, and we'll see you guys next week. So until then, guys.
Be happy.
Brew happy.
And game on.
Cheers.
Cheers. Google Earth, where your entire world is documented by our satellites. If you sneeze, we hear you. Don't sneeze loudly. Love Google.
Here we go. You ready? Whoa!
Whoa! Oh, that's super cool.